Today, I'm answering the $1 million question. And that question is, has land investing become too competitive? This question boils my blood. My sweet, sweet brethren and sister, if you are one of those who's watching at home asking yourself this question, fear not, because today I'm going to pull back the curtain and tell all. And hopefully you like the answer. Now, for context, I've only been in the land business since 2019. I'm not one of those old dogs who's been doing it since 1995. So I've got limited context, but I've watched things change over time. And so we're going to use a few different metrics, both from things that I've seen in my own land business and from things that I've pulled out from other land investors to kind of morph it all together. Now, before I dive in and share the nitty gritty, one of the funniest things is that, and I see this literally routinely inside of Leah, folks that are 6 to 12 months inside of Leah, they're having success. They're doing 2-3 deals a month. They're making more money than they've ever made before. And then the doubt starts to creep in. Holy shit, this is good. Holy crap, this is awesome. This has changed my life. Now, what if this gets taken from me? What if more land investors come in? What if land stops selling? What if there's a change for TCPA rules and none of the marketing channels work? What if double closing gets outlawed? What if? Now, I empathize with this because when I first started, I was the same way. I thought I had somehow unearthed some little magic domain that no one else knew about. And just like that, tomorrow is going to be gone from me. I don't know why I thought that way. I think partially it's because we've been conditioned for years of scarcity. If you haven't yet crossed the chasm and become, in quote, successful, it's really easy to live a life of scarcity and easy to live a life of lack. And so when you have a little bit, you're still in that scarcity mindset. Your mentality is not caught up to the real world results or to what your bank account looks like or to what your business is doing. And I empathize with that. Now, on the other side, it's a ginormous waste of your time and your energy. I'll tell you why. Ultimately, there's nothing you can do about it. The best thing you can do is put blinders on and do as many deals as possible. Heaven forbid, let's say that too much competition comes in the land business, gets eroded, there's no more arbitrage. Well, if you start worrying about it today, it's going to affect your performance, it's going to affect your results, it's going to affect how you go about your day. And so as a byproduct, ultimately, you're going to do less deals. Where the other Joe Schmo who never thought about it, did as many deals as possible, he's going to have the same outcome as you. If competition really does come in or the business gets flip-flopped, so what? You guys are both SOL. One of them did way more deals and had a much better mentality throughout the process. The other person was stressing themselves the F out, doing less deals and having a whole lot less fun. So you take your pick. What can you really do in that situation? Now, the good news is the sky is certainly not falling. And actually, just one funny tidbit. All the big dogs that I get to interface with or hang out with, folks have been doing it for a long time. They're doing a lot of deals. Dude, they don't think about this stuff. I swear to you, they don't talk about it. They don't think about it. It never comes up in conversation. It's never like, oh God, there's so many new investors, or this seller told me they got 22 letters last month. No, it literally never comes up at all. They talk about deals. They talk about things they're excited about. They talk about big projects, talk about things that they're experimenting with. But I promise you, the competition stuff never comes up. And it's almost like some people think that somehow there's some kind of secret society or land investing Illuminati. That would be crazy. And somehow someone knows more than others or knows where the puck is going. No, we're all playing the same game with the same information. It's just the folks at the highest level have a different mentality, a different worldview than you might have. And that's the defining difference. All right, so let's get into the stats. Now, like anything, this business is a living, breathing organism. It's cyclical. Sometimes there's a lot of buyers, or sometimes there's not a lot of buyers. Sometimes there's less sellers, sometimes there's more sellers. And really, when I think about sellers, I think about motivation, maybe just quality of sellers. Sometimes there's more investors, sometimes there's less investors. It definitely, I've seen this business kind of breathe, like pull in and pull out, recede and pull back. And right now, what I've seen, if I just look at some of the stats, I think we're actually at a point where it's pulling back and there's less investors coming into the space. Now, since I started this business in 2019, I've amassed a owner finance portfolio of a couple hundred properties. Okay. Those are all held in our name. And every month, of course, I get people reaching out to me, people that want to buy them, other investors. They send us letters or texts or cold calls or whatever. Now, what's interesting is that the quantity has really gone all over the map. There are times where on a few hundred properties, we might receive 10 to 20 letters a month. There have been outlier situations where I've received 50. And then right now we're in a point where it seems like I'm just receiving hardly any. And then same thing on the cold texting side, right? Periods where we might receive 2 to 5 texts a week. Sometimes an outlier might be 10 texts a week. And then a lot of cases, we receive no texts. In fact, I don't think I've received a text on a single property we own in probably 90 days. And so it really does ebb and its flow. Now, what's really fascinating, if we just take my own portfolio, for example, it's typically the same people, right? So I do look at the letters, I do look at the text. It's usually the same people sending me mail over and over and over again. What that tells me is the folks that are really doing volume, it's a small quantity of people really killing it in this business, right? And so it's like the 80-20. It's like the 20% of the people are making up 80% of the marketing that's coming inbound to me. Same thing on the text. A lot of the texts were the same people, so they follow up texts again and again and again and again. Here's where it becomes even more interesting. The vast majority of that inbound marketing trying to buy my properties were going to the same group of properties. So it was 20% of the people making 80% of the noise, and they were reaching out to only 20% of the properties that I own. In fact, there are properties in our portfolio where I'm pretty damn sure I've never gotten one solicitation to buy them. So it was just like certain markets like Costilla County, Apache County, some of these like old school land investing markets. The vast majority of the noise I was getting from investors was just to a handful of properties. It was shocking. And yet that's really started to pull back, at least in my personal business. I just get a lot less of these solicitations. And I've felt this brewing for the last year. Now, what happens is someone has a bad month, right? Things didn't go their way. They lose a contract, or a seller tells them I've got 3 other contracts, or 3 other offers, or a deal doesn't sell. And they immediately glom onto, oh shit, the business has changed. Good old competition has changed. It's like, no, this business is lumpy. You probably have a really small sample size. You might have 3 properties in your portfolio that you have listed. Like, your results are going to be lumpy, and this business in itself is very lumpy. So people start going into this panic mode when they just kind of forget how this business really works, and they start kind of falsely assuming it's something exterior. Nope, it's just you. Nope, it's just your business. It's just the results. It's just the way this business works. In fact, we have months where we sell 3 properties and months where we sell 10 properties. It's just all over the map. Now, the next thing that's really fascinating, of course, we make YouTube videos just like these. I've made over 1,000 YouTube videos. Our views on a YouTube video has not changed. And I think we make more YouTube videos than anyone else out there. We average 250 to 500 views per video. Hasn't really changed. And I get to see the back end of the SEO for land investing content. Never seen a big peak, never seen a big drop. Steady Eddie. Now, is every land investor or could be or would be land investor on YouTube? No, but actually the search traffic is a really good indicator of how much new inbound interest is coming into this business. It's a great indicator, in my opinion. Hasn't changed. The number of subscribers we get hasn't really changed. Now, here's where things get fascinating. I obviously run LEA, a land investing coaching program. Coaching program where we recently added a 6-figure guarantee. Crazy. 6 figures in your first 12 months. Crazy, ridiculous, crazy. And yet every month we still enroll about 15 people a month. Even with the most bonsai wild guarantee, our results are about the same because there's only so much for that total addressable market of the new land investor, right? I think we are doing a really good job on the things that we put out inside of LEA and things like these videos. And yet the results are the same. The number of people that join LEA are the same. The number of people that watch these videos is the same. It doesn't change. It hasn't changed. Now, could it change? Sure, but it hasn't changed. Now, I have been in like the coaching world for only a few years now, right? Relatively new to it, although we have worked with a boatload of people in that time. What's really interesting about this is talking to some of the OG educators, okay? People that are at the top of their game, people that have been doing this for way longer than I have. They conclude that about 10% of the people actually complete their programs. Now, what percentage of those people actually stick around and make a career out of it? Hard to say. Some of these programs have enrolled maybe 5,000 people, maybe 10,000 people over their 10, 15, 20-year existence. Who knows? Tiny little fraction that have actually completed those programs. And an even smaller fraction of folks that are actually doing this business consistently, like are full time, like this is their career, like this is their thing. And based off all the chatter that I've had with other land investors, we'd estimate maybe 1,000 to 2,000 active full-time land investors. And even that seems like hyperbole. I mean, I go to these land investing events and masterminds and it's the same people. It's literally, and it's been the same people for years. When we're hosting our mastermind this year in Las Vegas, it's the same people. If there's competition, where is it? Because I can't find it. And our results in our land business, I don't feel the competition. I haven't seen it. Now, maybe if you've been doing this since 2012, sure, I'm sure it looks different. But all things being equal, it feels exactly the same to me. Now, you have to take in consideration that we have gotten better as operators. So that's probably counteracting some of the increasing competition. And I'm not saying new people haven't come into this business. I've seen it firsthand in LEA, but it's not at a clip that could erode the arbitrage. There's just no way. Now, on that note, what do I actually think about? Like, what are the things that worry me? Definitely not more land investors coming in. I never think about that. I literally never think about it at all. Don't think about it. Things I do think about are the buyer pool shrinking. Like if we go through a hardcore recession, buyer pools will shrink. There'll be less buyers out there. It'll be harder to move your properties off to someone at more of a discount. Some markets will go and absolutely shit the bed. So that's why market selection is so important. That's why we've built Land Insights. It is critical to your success in a good market, but especially in a bad market. And we can move into a bad market. When I mean market, I mean on a macro level, like the market, like the whole US, the economy. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that does concern me. And so if you've got millions of dollars of private money or kind of funding on deals that are cash closed and listed right now, I would be concerned. That would scare me a little bit. If you had big monster value add projects going on, that would concern me a little bit. Now, the next thing I think about, and this doesn't really concern me as much, but marketing rules could change for direct mail, for TCPA stuff. Like that stuff will most likely change. And same thing, some of these more alternative closing strategies, wholesaling, double close, all that stuff, that could change too. But honestly, those last 2 points do not concern me. And what I know is that kind of compression, it rattles the weak hands. And so when those weak hands get rattled, there is new opportunity, right? Recently, South Carolina passed a new law for no double closings, right? No equitable interest in properties to resell them on the MLS. And I know people that are absolutely crushing it there because of it, crushing it. And so it's ultimately a matter of perspective. And I think as an entrepreneur, those tough times, those inflection points, those pivots, sometimes that's where your greatest opportunity lies. And so I fear not. I have no fear. And I think on some level, it's part of this, the gristliness, I don't know if that's a word, that you develop the longer that you're in the game of business. The stuff will kick you in the nuts and the crotch and the whatever, not very politically correct, but it'll kick you and punch you and spit on you and slap you, stick its finger up your butt. Like it'll do all those things to you. It's terrible, but it's great at the same time. But in that process, you build resilience. You become a strong MFer. I don't care if you're a man or a woman, you become a strong MFer. This thing will test you. And so at a certain point, you just elect to relinquish control. I focus on what I can focus on and I do not stress the rest. That's my recommendation to y'all. Take care.